and apply it to that surrounding skin and let that dry. You could also use the spray version of the product, and there's also a 1 milliliter wipe. And that's going to help protect that surrounding skin from any excessive moisture that surrounding skin might be exposed to.
อย่างแผลนี้ก็จะเป็นแผลเปิดใช่ไหมคะแต่นี้ต้องการความชุ่มชื้นให้กับแผลแล้วก็ตัวดูดเอ็กซิเดตออกเขาก็เลยเลือกใช้อัลจิเนต
Tegaderm Alginate
เขาก็
AG
จะมาเตรียม
dressing.
เอจิเนต
Now there's two ways you can apply it to a wound that doesn't have a lot of depth. You can either take a wound that's fairly close in size, place it into the wound, and just fold
ฝรั่ง
in
เขา
the
ก็จะมาวัด
edges.
นะคะ
Because again, you don't
ของเราก็
want
ใช้สาย
more
ตากะก็ได้
overlap than about an eighth of an inch. All right, so you just kind of fold it in
เขาบอกว่าจะถมอย่างนี้ก็ได้
slipping
นะคะ
a little bit
แผ่น
here.
หนึ่งเนี่ยเอามา
Fold
ถ
it
ม
in
เห็นไหม
to the edges, and then you would cover this with your cover dressing. And we're going to be talking about cover dressings
แต่
in
พอ
just
ใช้
a
อัลจิเนต
moment.
แล้วต้องมีอะไรมา
Right? So
cover อีก
that's
ชั้น
one
หนึ่ง
method.
นะคะต้องเป็น
But
ก๊อ
I
ซหรือ
generally
โฟม
prefer, based on the size of my wound, to actually cut the dressing and prepare the dressing so I get a little bit more accuracy in the
ถ้า
size.
จะให้แผล
So
ส
what
วย
I've
นะคะก็
done is
ตัดมาก่อน
based on my wound measurements,
ให้
I've
พอ
gone
ดี
ahead and cut
แล้วก็
that dressing.
แปะเข้าไปแค่
You
นี้เอ
can
ง
see there's hardly any overlap, a little bit of overlap around that wound, but no more than an eighth of an inch. So at this point in time, I can go ahead then and put my cover dressing over the top and be confident that as that drainage is absorbed into the alginate dressing, that's going to swell a little bit, shrink down into the wound, and not really threaten those wound edges. But I know also I have my Kevlar no sting barrier film applied so that skin is very well protected. Okay, now I'm going to just remove that for a second so it doesn't fall out, and then we're going to go ahead and show how to apply the rope dressing into a deeper wound. Let's go ahead and fill the deeper
เดี๋ยว
wound
เขาจะ
on
สอน
our
วิธี
model
การ
now,
ใส่เข้า
and
ไปใน
we're
แผล
going
ที่
to
มันเป็น
use the rope as
ลึก
I mentioned.
ลึกกว่าเมื่อ
And
กี้นะคะ
of course, when you're filling a wound, you can either do this with gloved fingers or you can use a sterile cotton tip applicator. And you've of course have rinsed your wound, you've irrigated your wound, and then you've also applied a protective barrier film, the Kevlar no sting barrier film, to your surrounding skin. Now, this version of the dressing is also very useful if you have a tunnel or a tract that you need to fill or gently pack. So now you're all ready to go with your wound filler. So just taking your gloved finger, just gently laying the rope in the wound, tucking it into any undermined space.
นี่ก็ใช้
And just
ใส่ถุงมือสเตอร์ไลน์
layering it
แล้วก็ใส่
back
อันนี้
and
ไป
forth.
พับแล้วก็ยัดเข้าไปในโพรง
Until you filled
ให้ชิดกับแผล
entire
แนบกับแผล
wound.
มากที่สุดนะคะ
All right, and again, you want to fill the wound to the surface, making sure you filled the entire cavity. For this wound, actually, I would probably take another piece of rope and just use a portion of that rope to fill the remaining part of this wound. Again, you want to fill it to the surface with only no more than about an eighth of an inch overlap around the edges. All right, so that shows you how you would fill using the rope dressing, and I'm just going to take that out now because I also want to show you another technique. If you don't happen to carry the rope in your facility and
เขา
you
บอกว่า
instead just
ถ้าแบบ
carry the pad
บ้านเราไม่
version,
มีแบบที่เป็น
you
เส้
can
น
also
ๆ
use
ยาวๆ
the
เราก็ใช้แบ
pad
บแผ่น
version to fluff
นะคะ
into a
แล้วเดี๋ยว
wound.
เขาจะ
And
ทำ
in
ให้ดู
this case, you wouldn't cut the dressing, but you would just take the alginate AG and you would gently tuck and fold the dressing down into the cavity, not, never stuffing forcefully, always very gently tucking and folding to get the dressing into the wound and completely filling the wound. And this is actually with the 4x5 dressing a very nice fit for this size wound. And then at that point you can apply your cover dressing, and that may be for more moderate drainage. You may be able to use just a simple composite dressing such as a Metapore Plus pad. Again, in this area of the body, a lot of times a barrier dressing is a very good choice. A lot of times these patients are also incontinent, so you may need to use the Metapore Plus pad dressing. But if you're needing to absorb larger amounts of drainage, say this wound has a large amount or a copious amount of drainage, then a foam dressing is a much better choice, and you have the option of the 3M foam adhesive dressing. Again, that has a tegaderm covering, so it provides barrier protection from urine and stool, or in some situations you may decide to use the non-adhesive version, which once it's applied would need, of course, to be secured with tape. But I'm just going to go ahead and show you how it would look if we apply
แต่
our
ถ้าเมื่อไหร่
foam
ที่ใช้กลุ่ม
adhesive
alginate
dressing
fiber
over
นี่
this
ต้องมีตัว
wound and
secondary
pressing
wound
that
cover
down
อีกที
into
หนึ่ง
place. Okay, and then removing
แล้วก็
the
ระหว่าง
spoke
ทำนี่อย่าให้ alginate
delivery
นี่มันเปียก
pieces.
ถ้าเมื่อไหร่มันเปียกมันก็ฟังก์
And
ชัน
you
มัน
can
ก็
see
หม
what
ด
a
ไป
very nice finished result. And now that wound is not only filled, has an absorbent antimicrobial wound filler in it, but also has a cover dressing that provides a very nice barrier for it. กลุ่มต่อไปก็เป็นไฮโดรคลอริด์นะคะ
For dressing application,
ที่ให้ดูตัวอย่างก็จะเป็น
and protect your peri-wound tissue per your facility protocol. You will select a dressing size to allow 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters of overlap onto the intact skin. You will remove the liner from the back of the dressing by lifting and pulling one of the square ends marked number 1 to expose the adhesive surface.
ก็แกะธรรมดาเราใช้แผ่นฝั่งที่มันมีกาวแปะเข้าไปในแผลก็ใช้พวกแผลตื้นๆ abrasion แผลเบิร์น second degree อะไรอย่างเงี้ยค่ะ
Center and gently press the adhesive side of the dressing to the wound site, smoothing the film edges. Remove the delivery film by lifting one of the center tabs marked number 2, pulling toward one edge and smoothing the dressing to the edge. And then repeat this for the other side. In a downward direction, gently pull on the perforated tabbed edge. This dressing may remain in place for 7 days. Change if it begins to leak or if the edges bunch.
เขาบอกว่าเนี่ยของเขาก็เปลี่ยน
I will now
7
go
วัน
on
เปลี่ยน
to
ที
demonstrate the dressing removal. You will carefully lift the dressing edge of the film border while pressing down on the skin. Continue to lift the edge until all are free from the skin surface. If there is a difficulty lifting the film border, you may apply a piece of tape to the edge and use that to assist you to lift your edge. Continue to remove the film border and then carefully remove the dressing, folding it over itself, pulling in the direction of the hair growth.
ต่อไปเป็นกลุ่มพวกไฮโดรเจลนะคะ
For application and removal, prepare your wound bed and protect your peri-wound skin per your facility protocol. I'll demonstrate the application in the shallow or an eschar covered wound. You want to squeeze your hydrogel onto the tongue blade and apply 1/8 to 1/4 inch thick into the wound
อัน
bed.
นี้ฝรั่งเขาก็จะใช้แบบไม้ป้ายสวยงามของเราก็อาจจะเอาเป็นด้าม
For wounds with depth,
Concept ก็ได้ค่ะ
squeeze the
ป้ายๆเข้าไป
hydrogel into the gauze pad and work into the pad. Then lightly pack into your
เมื่อ
wound
กี้เขา
bed.
ก็จะทาลงมาให้ทั่วก้นแผล
Cover
นะคะ
dressing.
แล้วก็จะใส่เข้าไปในก๊อซที่จะโปะอีกรอบหนึ่ง